Hey, you guys, what is going on? Shaquan here, and I am here to talk about double tops versus higher highs. So, let's get into this analysis on AUD New Zealand dollar. So if you follow me on Instagram, then you know that I posted a video or reel that asked, would you buy this currency pair? And I'm going to get into why I believe that this could be another buying opportunity. So if you follow me on YouTube or here on TradingView or Instagram, then you know that I have been buying up AUD New Zealand dollar for the past few months now. But here's the thing, I'm the only one who's looking for a buy. I actually have a student who's looking for a buy as well, and he asked a question about our point of view. And I'm going to read what he wrote. I'm going to take you guys through his chart. I'm not going to show you guys what I wrote back to him because I want to see if I wanted to see it for himself, how to simplify the analysis. But I did tell him that I would do a video to show him how to simplify it. And I'm going to share that information with you guys too, because this is what I call a coaching moment. It's a moment in time where me as a coach, I get on here and I talk about, hey, I know you see this, but what if you saw it that way? Would that change your perspective and you keep your perspective? Or we just continue to see it your way. One thing about it is when someone comes to me, when they join my membership or they want me to teach them in one-on-one sessions per how I trade or my TMP system, I don't mix systems, right? And I'll show you guys why in just a second. So let's just read what he said first, and then we're going to get into the actual price charts from both sides. So does anyone have the same point of view as me on AUD New Zealand dollar? I understand we made a new higher high, just didn't close above. Let's talk about that first. All right. Now, before we go forward, though, he says, my point of view, and I love that he said that because that's important. And I also know we don't trade chart patterns here, but they still exist. So in my group, in my community, we don't look at everything. We don't look at support and resistances. We don't look at trend lines. We're not looking at chart patterns like double tops and double bottoms and things of that sort. It's fine if the actual individual trader still sees those things, but to mix those things, especially when there's like a particular authority in a community, when you're in a community, you want to make sure that um you guys can agree on the system you trade so it doesn't feel like everyone is trading everywhere and now you're not in line. Like, for example, we went to school and we learned math. We all learned the same curriculum. When we learned science, we were all learning the same curriculum, because if someone was learning science and someone was learning math in the same room, the teacher who is the authority, that particular teacher was only supposed to teach one subject at a time, and to mix it just would be catastrophic, right? So I kind of think about that same thing as a community when you're in a trading group. That's just my opinion. But I'm glad he said from his point of view, because that lets me know as the coach, I'm not touching the pattern that he sees. But what I will touch is the analysis side of it. So he says here, being that a potential double top is forming makes me believe that the first trade could lose so that it could retest the bottom zone. Makes sense? Now, let me show you guys the price chart. For one, let me just say this is a beautiful colored chart. I love the colors of the chart. I think it's amazing. He's using the gradient scale so that his colors mesh, and I just think it's so beautiful, right? But this is where he sees the potential double top here. He has break of structure at his higher high, and he says, well, price broke structure. So let's get into this part here on his price chart. A break of structure to him means that in an uptrend, price broke the highs. All right. Now, my question would be, what does that mean and how does that help him find the next trade? Okay. If price breaks structure, I want to see his mindset of where does he understand if price could pull back, where will price pull back to? Is it the previous breaker structure or is it lower? Like for here, you guys see he says it's a bottom zone here. But here's the thing, was this bottom zone for this break of structure where he was hoping price could pull back to? But since price did not pull back to that structure and it went higher, now you guys see that he has a new zone, which is right here. So what this lets me know is that he's updating his price chart and he's keeping up on his chart the new break of structure. But here's what he says. Potential double top to test bottom zone. So in my mind, I'm thinking, does he mean this bottom zone or the new zone where he already has the chart updated to where he could potentially take the trade, where you guys see his risk to reward, which is very beautiful. And he still has this, has it been tested? So this is where I'm going to test the analysis side of it. Now, let's go to my price chart. So here he even said, hey, I understand we made a new high, just didn't close above. You guys, when it comes to trend, the moment price wicks above the previous high, it doesn't have to close above it. This is still a higher high. And so this is what I am questioning his mindset on. Is this a double top or a higher high where price is saying I am still in an uptrend? Because what is a double top and how does it relate to price, the action that's happening on your chart? What is it telling you about the Australian dollar, New Zealand? Are you saying because, and this is where I'm asking you guys as well, because these are questions that you have to ask yourself. This is how you get stronger in your technical analysis. Are you saying that if you trade the double top rule, that because price didn't close above, that we will see sellers come back into the market and push price down so you can buy again? That's one. Or are you actually saying, hey, price is in an uptrend, buyers still have control, that I believe that price could still get some relief here and we could go back into another buy? Do y'all see the difference? This is the difference between looking at the trend and then looking at the actual pattern, right? Because we are relating this to what we're actually trading. Now, let's relate it to the foreign exchange market because we really have to get a little bit more technical. You have to get more technical when you're looking at your charts. What does it mean when price makes a double top? Or what does it mean when price makes a new higher high? It's not the close above, it's how high price reached. The previous high was here at 1.12568. Then we pulled back to 1.11150. Then price went back up to 113.026. What does this mean? It's not a pattern, it's supply and demand. The people who live in New Zealand, because we're trading the Australian dollar versus, not versus, but with the New Zealand dollar, what this means is that people who live in New Zealand, if they wanted to purchase one Australian dollar at the high, it would have cost them $1.13. At the lowest point, it would have cost them $1.1150 or $1.11 the Australian dollar cents. So what this means is that because price is in an uptrend, the value for one Australian dollar is increasing. And so if the people who live in New Zealand wanted to buy one Australian dollar cheaper, they would need price to pull back but stay above $1.11 so they can still buy at a discount before price potentially may increase again, passing $1.13 Australian dollar cents. A double top doesn't tell you that, but a higher high tells you that. Doesn't matter if it closed above or not. And so this is how technical you want to be when you are looking at your price charts. Okay. Now, that's the difference between double tops and higher high rules. But let's talk about how to trade the higher high and the double top rules. When you're trading a double top rule, the double top rule says this, that when price forms a double top, that basically it could mean that price could go lower, break the neckline of the double top, retest it, and then go lower. Hence, when you guys look at his price chart, he says potential double top to test the bottom zone. Now, I'm only going to go what I see on his price chart because he has bottom zone written down and he says it hasn't been tested. I don't know if this is updated zone, but what I will do is talk about the true actual way to trade a double top. When you are trading a double top, it means that the neckline needs to break. Now, if this is a true neckline to him, the neckline needs to break the bottom of this zone and then retest it to continue down. And maybe it comes back down to his zone. But I would not bet that unless price could go past $1.11. But then that means that price is reversing on the daily time frame. And instead of looking for buys, that means you need to continue to look for sales. But that hasn't happened yet. Okay. Higher high, when it's in an uptrend, says that if price stays above the last higher low at $1.11, you will buy hoping that price could go back above $1.13. Okay. So that's the difference. So when we're using technical analysis, it's important to not switch too many rules around. But I want to ask you guys, which one would you trade? The higher high rule because it is in an uptrend, or the double top rule? Okay. Now, this is when you have to ask yourself, do you have buy or analysis or sell analysis? And what I teach people in my community and people who learn to trade with me in one-on-ones is have one bias, until the other one happens. This way you don't have an or situation. And now when you get down here to your zone, and you have your entry, you don't feel stuck because you're contemplating, but the other side could happen, right? And that's how you can see your trade is bad, or that's how you can talk yourself out of a really good position. So for now, and I love that he has this on his chart as well, is that, hey, if price does come into his zone and can prove it can stay above by a bullish price action candlestick, or maybe a hammer or a bullish engulf, and whatever the case may be, he will still buy. So I would ask, what rule are you going to trade? Your double top rule, where price could potentially sell off, but that hasn't happened yet, or the higher high rule, where you're going to buy alongside with the trend, because this is a bullish trend and you want to continue to buy with it until the reversal happens. And it won't happen if it breaks your higher high structure. It'll happen if it breaks your higher low, or what I like to say is push past the higher low. The last point, or the last price where people in New Zealand dollar could buy the AUD, or the Australian dollar, at the cheapest price. Okay, so I pray this video was helpful to you guys, and I would like to ask y'all, which rule would you trade, the double top rule or the higher high rule, for buys and or for sales? And so let me know in the comment section below. And then, hey, you guys, this is where teaching comes into play. This is where having a coach comes into play. One thing, like I told you guys, I could not speak on was any other pattern that he is trading. I'm not here to tell someone what they can't trade. I'm not here to tell someone what they can't do. I'm just here to give another approach to the market and to simplify the approach to the market and ask questions so that you can think for yourself, or people who come to me can learn to think for themselves too. I think his chart was set up really well. I think it was very beautiful. I'm glad he is looking at the buy. It's just times when we have to simplify the approach, and he'll simplify it because he's on the right path. So I want to say kudos to him. So I'll see you guys in the next video.